Howdy everybody, this is Bake with IronThroneCraft.com. Today we're going to talk about Blood Moon, rallies, hits, everything else like that. But more importantly, we're going to be using some different gear to try to crack these infantry traps. A lot of people are setting up a lot better with a lot more troops, and they've got aspirant weapons and, other of the level 60 gear weapons that's causing us to have to adjust things. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you some rallies, I'm going to show you some solos, and I'm going to go through our thought process behind it and show you exactly what we're sending here. So don't worry, it's slowing down now at this point. First of all, we hit this guy. We hit him all right. You see, hit him for, 400 million or so. Won the face-off, obviously. But if you scroll up and look at that, see how he didn't have infantry HP left over? Scroll down at the bottom. See how he's got all three types? So we've been hitting with this more frequently, this setup more frequently. And what this is it's Radiant as the main hero. And then we're using a infantry debuff hero for the second one, which I'll go through and show you in just a second. And what that's doing is we're trying to fully remove as much infantry HP as we can, because people are either mixed or they're infantry right now. You'll see that's not always the case here at the end of the video. We hit somebody that's not all infantry, but for the most part, that's what we're doing right now. So you see, here's the main guy, and here's the secondary guy, and here's the third guy. So there's your setup right there. That's what we're doing. But you saw with Infidus, I'm using the leverage ring, the archer leverage ring. I'm using that. Those leverage rings are good now. I'm going to release this video with a little bit left in Blood Moon, so if you don't have those rings, you should go buy them. And I'm sorry, in Dark Moon, because Dark Moon's going on right now. And so those leverage rings are really, really good, specifically because so many people are running infantry traps. So you see how I'm filling this rally with all archers, and that's without knowing if they're infantry or not. I think this guy actually ends up being infantry, but even if they're not all infantry, this is still a decent setup if they have any infantry troops at all, because it will take out their infantry HP. So, you want to take out their infantry HP. Even if they're mixed, you can still kill a lot of infantry. See here, we killed 144 million. It was all in preemptive strike phase. He's mixed. See how much infantry attack he has? And we also got his HP a lot lower. So if we scroll down and look at this guy, he's actually an infantry trap. So it's a good thing that we hit him with the infantry cracker, is what I'm calling it. I don't know, just, as much infantry debuff as you can get. And so the second hero is going to have Aspirant head and chest with Crimson Archer weapons and accessories. And so here I'm going to try to set another one. You see that? That's what I'm going to say is only Crimson Archer gear. And then I'm going to go into my third hero. I'm going to switch my third hero out for Crimson Archer gear as well. And so you scroll down. This is what I'm doing right now, is I'm switching all the way over to Crimson gear in order to maximize the amount of infantry HP debuff that we can get. Because all we're caring about is boosting our archer stats and reducing their infantry stats. That's all we're caring about. See, he takes off after I take the time to reset my hero gear because I'm slow about it, and that's that. But moving forward, as you can see, this is what we're running. You still want Radiant as your lead hero. You still want Radiant gear on your lead hero because you still want that extra free stats from Radiant gear. It's important. Radiant head and chest also still have the most HP debuff, other than Aspirant, or one of the other level 60 gears that has two types of HP debuff that will beat Radiant once it gets up to level, I don't remember, 4, I believe, something like that. So now we're gonna hit Boone, and Boone is huge, and Boone has a million zillion kills, and so he's 1.1 trillion. But what we're doing with Boone is we're going to assume that Boone is split on bottom, and so you see I'm sitting in the same setup. And we're going to hit Boone with only archers, just like I talked about. So just because Boone is split on the bottom doesn't mean that this isn't going to work on him. It just means that now all we're focusing on is trying to kill infantry troops. That's it. See how I swap Maya over to Flaming Knight? Flaming Knight is the infantry killer hero. So that's what I'm doing here, is we're just stacking all of our archer stats as high as we possibly can. And we're trying to get a burn during preemptive phase. You're not going to get to main phase very frequently when you run this setup because you're not running very much attack debuff because you've got so much Crimson gear in there. But you do have a lot of infantry debuff. So here is against Boone, 1.1 trillion. I know he's set up well, but I also know he's probably not boosted right now because he's not expecting to get rallied because he's 1.1 trillion. We got the burn, barely, only killed 11 million troops. We won by 9 million power. So you see, as I said, all those kills came in preemptive phase because I know he's got the troop count. But see how we got his infantry HP down to 450%? We didn't zero it, but we got it low enough that we could kill just a little bit of this, scroll up, see how many troops he has in the bottom tier, but we managed to just do a little bit of a chippy damage to to those infantry there. And so that's why we were able to burn them. And so that's also why this setup works well until you run into somebody like this guy. See him? Bushmaster in the God Alliance. I'm going to solo him, and let's watch how that goes. This is using that same archer setup here. Capped. So I'm going to go, I'm going to chop my own hero, and then now I'm going to set a rally, like you do whenever you get capped like that. So soloing with this setup works better against infantry traps than, you know, soloing with the normal Raj setup. It works better, but soloing is just hard right now because people can get so many stats from Aspirant gear that it's extremely hard to get those stats debuffed. So you see in Alliance chat there, LD telling me that he thinks he's archers, but I still set the rally anyways because I am stubborn. And so I set the rally. Everybody's going to fill Crim archers, and we're going to try this again. And I'm going to give you a hint. I'm wrong. It's going to go poorly once it gets filled. That's why I'm kind of making this go quickly right now, because we're about to watch my beautiful infantry crusher setup get obliterated by a 300 billion with a full 10.7 million rally. So here we go. Check this out. In we go, and I'm capped. So I'm going to go in, chop my own hero again, revive him up, and now we're going to try something out. So whenever you're hitting somebody and your setup isn't working, you can either find a new target, or you can, using available information, try to go switch it out. So I went into Infidus, I set his aura over to the archer debuff. I set with Maya as my second hero, and so now what I'm hitting him with is Radiant gear, and then 2 sets of Raj gear, which is Radiant head and chest, and then all Majestic everything else. And I'm sending Cav, and we burn him. We burn him for a lot more, obviously. Killed 52 million there. But you guys remember what my Infidus had on for his accessory? See his archer stats? Everything else is zeroed, but you see his archer stats? We got his HP down to 568. But everything else, he had a ton of archer stats. So he's using level 60 archer gear with archers on bottom, as you can see right there. So now what I'm going to do is, because I just did that one frustrated and went in and switched my gear as quickly as possible and didn't really, entirely min-max it, which is a bad way to be. Don't be that guy. You want to be able to hit as hard as you can. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in, I'm going to fix my gear. First of all, I was using an archer leverage ring on Infidus when I sent only cav troops at an archer trap. That accessory was entirely useless. So I'm going to switch over to the cavalry accessory. Also, I was using double archer pets on Infidus, which is also entirely useless. So I'm going to switch those over to the cav attack pets as well. And so, like I was saying, anytime you're getting bad hits or you're not getting the hits you want, look at your setup and make sure that you're actually min-maxing for what you want to be going for. Infidus is still using archer runes, so there's that. But everybody else is, all 3 of these are going to be using archer runes, as it turns out. But I am going to go in, I'm going to switch the pets, and I'm going to switch those accessories out in order to do more damage. And that's what I'm doing right now, is switching the pets out in order to do more damage. And so what you don't want is you don't want to hit somebody when you're sending only cav troops and you're stacking archer leverage. That's not really the best plan. So watch what these minor changes, and by minor changes I mean, I min-maxed, I changed my pets, and I changed my 1 accessory. So 1 accessory difference, and my pets are changed. That's all that's changed. I'm sure there's a couple differences in fillers as well, but all I'm doing now is I'm stacking cav leverage instead of archer leverage, and that's all it is. You see a rally being set right here, so I'm going to reinforce that real quick while I'm setting this rally. And we're going to send it at this archer trap, who is set up quite well. But as we're finding out, leverage is really, really, really good against single type traps. And so we're all full. We're going to send it in and see how this one does. Now that we're a little bit more min-maxed. I didn't change my runes, like I said. That would have been more damage, but it's also 9 rune removals for somebody that might shield whenever we send the rally. This time we hit for 1.7 billion. So see how that little minor adjustment made a massive, massive change? We got some more HP off the archers as well, so we had a couple better fills on that one. But that minor adjustment of getting the leverage correct and getting the pets correct made such a massive difference in how big those hits were. And so that's what I'm trying to show to rally leaders and, solos and everything else like that. If you're getting decent hits on somebody, but you're not min-maxed, go min-max your stuff, because it's going to do way, way better. So, hope this helps. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, all those other things that YouTubers say to get you to watch their videos. Thanks for watching, everybody.